It's like super serious.
You've got one job.
You guys all got your show sheet right.
It's actually all rehearsed, but you play it off like it's not.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, Travis. Like, wait, what do you mean you guys didn't get the fucking show sheet? All right, we're going live.
And with
I'm just going to pause awkwardly and be like, line? Can I get a line?
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, actually not all ages. That's weird at a bar. Welcome to the open bar. It's your boy J Mike here. I got another motley crew with us, and it is the second to last Tuesday in July. And you know what that means, Jake, right?
Wait, I wasn't listening. What'd you just say?
Start it over.
Just cut that part out.
Yeah, totally cutting that part out. It's the open bar, Jake. And for those that are not watching in video form, the super producer, the super agent, the official agent of the open bar is back co-hosting to help us out with the big homie Gabe himself still champagning and campaigning all over Europe. Jake at NFL Draft Talker. What's cracking, my brother?
Nothing much, man. It feels like it's been a while since I've come on. I've missed your face, and like I just tweeted out, I just wanted to make sure you still have eyebrows after listening to the Dynasty Happy Hour pod, like you mentioned, and I think there still are a couple hairs there, so I'm a little bit surprised.
You will be surprised at how talented I am with my wife's eyeliner pencil.
They look like real hairs.
The detail.
Yes, because you can't go too thick with those things.
You can find any kind of video on YouTube nowadays. I'm not sure if you caught. I'm not sure if you knew that.
No, we've all seen those videos.
It's pretty amazing. I'm pretty proud of myself. Like, I haven't sweated off all day yet.
Natural. They look natural, man.
I mean, when you got it, you got it. You know what I'm saying? So we're not by ourselves, as you probably heard a gang of cackling just a little bit ago. From left to right, actually, let me try to pull up the video feed so I don't screw you guys up. Left to right here, the best beard in fantasy. There's nothing else to discuss. Travis Rasmussen from the Superflex Super Show. What's cracking, Travis?
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm here too.
All right.
Appreciate the kind words.
Good deal. Last week we had James on. Shout out to James.
Yes,
James,
my brother James.
He repped incredibly well for the brand. So I think there's an actual standard that you have to live up to at this point.
The entire show
much better
so
than
far
I did, or that I'm gonna do.
J Mike telling you not to fuck it up, Travis.
Yeah.
You got one shot, kid. You got one shot.
That's pretty par for the course on my own podcast, so I'm used to it.
Very good, very good. Keeping it moving. A much more beautiful man than anticipated.
Yeah.
At Dynasty Outhouse on Twitter. Russ, what's cracking?
Oh, nothing. I am just excited to be here amongst such a wonderful group of gentlemen that have by no means just crushed my hopes and dreams and reinforced that saying, don't meet your heroes.
Wait, so what you're saying is you don't look up to any of us?
I did not anymore. I mean, I thought you guys were all these model people, and the amount of cursing and mean things that have been coming out of your mouths. I was so gentle and naive, and I'm like a rugged man now. I think overnight I'm going to wake up with Travis's beard or something.
I'm still new at running this whole broadcast thing since Gabe's gone, but I'm very confident I know exactly where the boot button is. So you keep you
Wait,
keep
would that
acting
be a
like that,
record?
Russ.
Or would I be the first, or would I be the quickest?
No,
Either way, I'll take it.
You would be the first. You would be setting an open bar record.
Nice. All right. So even if it's 1 second before the end of the show, this is happening.
All right. Fair enough.
Your wife tuned in. She said you're definitely the quickest.
Oh, bazinga!
Wow, that just was silent.
People say the truth hurts, and it does.
People are like, "Yeah, I can't even laugh. That was so mean."
Yeah, no.
I love you. I'm sorry. I thought it was
Disappointment. Oh god.
just trying to break down barriers right now.
Emotional barriers just got broken down.
15 years of counseling unraveled in a moment. That's bad. Moving on. Last, but certainly not least, making his triumphant return to the open bar. No longer on the shelf, ladies. He's been taken from the game. Locked up. Shout out Grace. What's cracking, Grace? The man, the myth, the legend, everybody's favorite pony, Robert Elizabeth Pony Koch, a.k.a. Bobby Koch. What's cracking, Bobby?
Yeah, just happy to be back on the pod where it all started. You know, I've gotten super into My Little Pony since my last appearance.
Okay, so who's your favorite at this point?
Wasn't it Rainbow Sparkle? Was that her name?
Oh my god,
Rainbow Dash. Come on, man.
Russ knows what's up.
Russ has a daughter.
I think Russ is coming after my pony title for fantasy. I don't know how I feel about this.
Okay, we'll take away the fact that Russ has it. No, this is all right.
So
We're gonna find also okay. So I'm gonna be the first kicked off this show, and I'm gonna pony bet the Pony Boy for an avatar. So Jake, you're gonna have to make me a My Little Pony outhouse.
I got it already. I love how Bobby's the Twitter tough guy and the pony guy.
Yeah, I don't know.
You got to be a tough guy to be a brony.
That's true.
Yeah, I guess you have to be super confident and like just ready to fight anyone who comes at My Little Pony.
Babyface brony bully.
It's true. I did shave today, and initially on this podcast I wasn't wearing my glasses, but it seems Jake didn't get the memo that you either have to be wearing glasses or have a beard.
So we're just gonna act like 5 minutes before we started that you didn't go grab your glasses?
Yeah, no, I did. Because I got that memo late.
Okay. Just checking.
Mike will not let that stand.
No,
He's a truthful human being.
You just trying to slide that in like, no big deal. I mean, obviously, what are we doing?
Yeah, guys, I've been here with my glasses this whole time. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm waiting for Jake's face to disappear behind his mic and then come out with a fake beard on.
Master of disguise. Very good. So this is the crew for tonight. I'm excited to get into it, guys. I feel like a lot's happened in the span of a week since the last open bar, but before we jump into that, I feel like there are lots of things that we need to address just with folks on the panel. So, Bobby, you're married now, and you haven't even checked in to let us know how wedded bliss was, how was your honeymoon, nothing of that nature. And not that you have to wax eloquent about it. Maybe even not more than 10 seconds, because I don't think people really care. But would love to hear an update on your honeymoon and life as a married man.
Yeah, so I can do it in 10 seconds. The honeymoon was great. Married life was great. Moving on.
So do you still get to play Dynasty football, or is that kibosh on that? Or
yeah, I get to play Dynasty football and starting school, and my wife is super supportive. The other day, actually, very last minute, I made a guest appearance on Dynasty Blueprint, and I had to pick up the dog usually, and I just texted her like, hey, I'm going to be on this really cool podcast. Can you please pick up the dog? And without even like missing a beat, she's just like, yeah, I got you. So that's how you know you found the one.
That's a good one. I like that. Willing to pick up
There's
the dog
a little
for you.
Peek behind the curtain.
Just wait, Bobby. Just wait. Everything's rosy right now.
Sure, I'll get the dog 6 months later. What? Get that. I'm gonna put that dog down if you don't pick him up.
Like, there's no context being like, oh, this is a really big deal if it's a podcast for your wife. Like, oh, Ryan McDowell, really? Wow. No, there's just like,
my wife is up on the fantasy stuff because I talk about it way too much. So she knows who's who in the fantasy
Yeah,
community.
that's going to change eventually too.
You got a winner that she actually listens.
That's a fact. That is a fact.
So a few weeks ago, I went on Bobby's podcast, the Afterburners podcast, and Grace was in the same room on the couch the entire time.
Oh yeah, she's here.
So she's awesome.
Let's see if I can aim this.
Oh, here we go. Hey, there she is.
Hi.
Koch.
Yeah, that's what she does. We live in a New York City apartment. There's nowhere for her to go.
So is she
force.
just sitting there quietly this whole time?
Yeah, she sits there and like scrolls through her Twitter and Instagram feed, I think.
Damn.
I mean, look at you living it up.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty great.
Bobby got a catch.
And we're on speaker, right?
No, you're playing through really bad iPod headphones, because if I put on my Dice headphones, I get too loud and then she gets mad.
So, can I ask how much you pay her to marry you? Like, is this like a Tom Haverford deal, or like?
Let's just say it was a lot of money. All right, like a lot of money. I'm completely broke now. Nothing left.
He promised her a certain lifestyle from this band fame.
I'm not even asking what that promise.
She thinks every podcast appearance I make like 10 grand. It's fine.
Shoo. Joke's on you, baby
Yeah,
boo.
she won't be disappointed at all. Wait, you're putting how much time into this for free? Wait, you're putting money into this product?
What about my needs, Bobby? So we'll jump into it. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. We'll jump into it, guys. Today, breaking news. At least earlier today it was. Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley gets paid. Absolutely paid. 4 years, up to $60 million. They're saying there's $45 million in guarantees versus $45 million guaranteed, because apparently those are not the same things anymore. We have to differentiate.
About the verbiage.
Yeah, it's all about the verbiage. So let's talk about it. Todd Gurley, and I put this out on the Dynasty Dummies Twitter handle earlier. Finish the sentence. Todd Gurley extension means what?
I'm just crying about John Kelly, really.
That Todd Gurley's on the same team for the next 2 years.
It means Le'Veon Bell is very, very sad.
Or very, very happy. See what happens
He
next.
claimed to be happy, but I think he's very sad because he knows that he's going to be, 28 next season, and he's probably not going to get the same contract that Gurley did.
Yeah, not the same contract, but he'll get paid next offseason.
Oh, yeah, he'll get paid.
There's so many bad teams with plenty of cap space. I think he's going to get paid. There's no doubt about it. He's not going to get the guaranteed money that Gurley just got, but as far as yearly kind of deal, he's going to get around the same amount of yearly money, and then it's just going to come down to what kind of guarantee money he gets.
The Jets are going to throw the book at him.
That's what they do. And
Yeah,
when they're still way too
those
far away to
teams.
pay a running back.
Yeah.
What happens, and I said this the other day and I almost wanted to vomit after I did. What happens if Le'Veon Bell ends up in Buffalo?
I mean, Shady, did terrible things to people, but he also still produced while he was in Buffalo.
Allegedly, if we're being fair.
If we're okay, he allegedly paid someone to do terrible things to someone in Buffalo, but also produced, no matter how terrible that team was.
I think it's gross. So I guess go ahead, Jake.
The only caveat I was going to throw in there is I think the biggest deal about Le'Veon's playing style and he's so perfect fit for that Pittsburgh offense, and Pittsburgh offensive line is really good, and usually I think offensive line is a little bit overrated. Peter Howard has talked immensely about that, but the one thing about with his patient running style, if he doesn't have an offensive line to hold those defenders off, it's going to be a little bit harder for him to utilize his skill set.
Yeah, I agree with that, Jake. I was just thinking that he's such a patient guy that if he doesn't have a good defensive line, he's just going to get tackled behind the line every time because he really waits for those holes to open up.
Mm-hmm.
So is this the beginning of the end of and of course we start talking about Todd Gurley and it just spins into Le'Veon Bell. If you have Le'Veon Bell in your leagues, what are you doing with him?
If you want to win it this year, buy him. Should be able to get him a little cheaper. I don't think anyone that at least we play with is silly enough to think that any of this is good for him.
Yeah, I think he's kind of the conundrum of the first round of startups. You know, it's like obviously the production and the talent are well worth a first round startup pick, but it's just it's a difficult position. Like, where would you guys have to be in a startup to take Le'Veon? What kind
I'm
of
not taking him in the first
at all?
Oh, really?
Okay.
Wow.
I just don't see the point, man. I mean, basically, if you take Le'Veon Bell in the first round, you essentially have to draft a win now team and kind of, you know what I mean? Like, Le'Veon Bell does not belong on a team in which you're trying to, you know, gather any sort of, you know, young future pieces at all. I mean, I've been touting selling him for the entire offseason. And yeah, I mean, he's going to have a good year. He's freaking awesome, but he's at a very, very short window.
The one thing I disagree with there is you mentioned that you can't have him on a young team. This just bothers me in general. People say that if you have a young team, you shouldn't acquire older, good players. But if they're cheap enough, you can. I'm not saying Bell's a good example, but you can flip them in season for a profit and then expedite your rebuild that way. So even if, let's say, you took him in the first and then you found out your team's not competing, you could probably sell him in season for a pretty good haul to a team that is competing. So I don't think it's the worst move to take him in the first still. And probably if he's sitting there, don't get me wrong, I'm not taking him if I have a first, like, top 4 pick. But if he's sitting there at the end of the first and I'm on the clock at the end of the first and he's there, I'm taking him probably.
Yeah,
If I could go
fair.
like Bell Dalvin at the turn, I think that'd be a baller start.
Yeah, and like Capitalist picks 3. J Mike, you're in that league with me. Is that a 3? That's a 3 copy, right? 3 copy points per carry. So it's heavy on the running back.
It's 4 copy.
4 copy. I'm sorry. Yeah, 4 copy league. I got Le'Veon, and I've actually been a proponent of selling him. But the thing is, I think I paid like 172, and Kamara was going for like almost 200. Like, that's the thing. Like, Dalvin Cook, Kareem Hunt, and Alvin Kamara, I think, are perceived value as far as non-startup. Almost, I feel like people are ready to sell for one of those running backs instead. So, like, I'm not a huge Le'Veon fan for that, you know, startup price, but the fact that I got him in a points per carry league, you know, on a team that I'm always generally trying to win now, seemed like a hell of a deal. And that's the thing. I threw out some trade offers too, and no one is biting even on that, you know, Kareem Hunt plus a little, Dalvin Cook plus a little, Kamara straight up not even. A lot of people are. So I think he's absolutely a hold at this state. And then veteran players in the offseason, just their value just plummets, you know. So if you're going to sell them, you do have to wait till in season to do it.
That's an interesting point. That's an interesting point that you bring up in terms of trying to be able to get something plus for him, because of the fact that friend of the pod, really good guy, Tyler Gee. Tyler is one that talks about how, you know, typically if you're looking at ADP or if you're looking at rankings, you should say that, hey, if you have one guy above another, you should say, hey, I can take this guy plus something else to get the next guy up. In this instance, it really does feel like, and even just in league chats that we've talked through today and over the last week or so, a lot of people are not willing to pay up for him in terms of giving up one of those guys, your Kamaras, your Kareem Hunts, the Dalvins, guys like that who are technically right now behind him in the pecking order. So I think that kind of how that unfolds is going to be really interesting with the fact that we still don't know where he's landing next year and things of that nature.
J Mike, where would you take him in a startup?
In a startup, you know what? I've got ADP pulled up here.
He said, where would you take him?
Yeah, I'm taking him. I'm probably taking him around the 10 spot.
Yeah,
I'm still taking him before, and just because I'm not big on Kareem Hunt. He was fantastic last year, so I'm taking him before Kareem Hunt, before Mike Evans, before Michael Thomas. So maybe settle right behind like Kamara, perhaps something like that. But I don't even know if I really want Kamara ahead of him either. I don't know. So yeah, around 10, I'd say.
Yeah, I just feel like he's such a conundrum, almost like a polarizing player in startups, because the perceived value and then the actual value where people will take him in a startup seem to be completely different.
Feels like
yeah, agreed. And that's kind of what I was trying to get at, is his ADP is 107, and I guess my whole point was I'm not going to end up with him. Not I refuse to take him in the first round. If he's at 112, sure, but
how likely is that?
Yeah, it's not very likely.
I got him at 205.
So if I've got a top
actually, that's a
6 or 7 pick.
Sorry, what? He went 205 in a super flex startup I just did.
Oh, wow. How many teams?
12. And
wow. Why did people take quarterback that? Or how many quarterbacks went before him? 2 or 3?
Well, now you're going to ask my slow-ass computer to pull up this thing. We're in the middle of this conversation. It's just not going to happen.
Don't bring up a league if you're not going to have it ready, Russ.
Yeah, that was I'm a rookie at this, guys. And now I can't. I'm looking at the list and I can't find it. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
Oh, really, Russ? Tell us more.
You could have just fucking made it up too. None of us know.
Never.
It was
never.
It was
I respect you guys.
Oh, that's your first mistake.
So back to Todd Gurley.
I refuse to go back to Todd Gurley.
Does it really change anything for anybody? I mean, his value is already
we saw this
through
coming.
the roof. Like how? Yeah, you can't add any more value to what he's already being valued at.
Yeah, he's a top 3 startup player.
Yeah, right. He was not going anywhere. So I mean, the fact that he got a lot of money doesn't matter.
That's what I don't. That's the thing I don't know is that. Well, at least with me, like I feel like Russ and Jake, you guys kind of feel like this was a foregone conclusion type of deal. It almost feels like we're in this age where it is going to be this case of a constant revolving door at running back almost. At least that's the kind of the way it feels. Maybe not so much for the special guys, and maybe that's why it shouldn't shock me because he got the deal. But in the same breath, I don't think I would have been shocked if they didn't offer him. Well,
people have been saying that for the last few years, as far as like when we had that little lull with rookie running back prospects. The talent wasn't there, and it's not worth taking a first-round pick on a running back. And then there's just this renaissance with Gurley and Gordon and Zeke and Leonard Fournette, and I think it's a talent situation. You don't want to pay a run-of-the-mill running back big money, of course not. But I mean, there aren't that many Gurleys in the league. There aren't that many Zekes in the league. There aren't that many Leonard Fournettes in the league. So I think it's more about talent influx than it is about. And I do agree that the running back position is more replaceable, but that level is much harder to replace than I think is made out to be.
To J Mike's point, it didn't change where I valued him in Dynasty. But let's say I'm picking him at the 2nd pick or the 3rd pick in a startup. It does make me feel a bit safer about making that pick,
for sure,
knowing that he's going to be in a system that he's familiar with a coach that knows how to utilize them.
By the way, 5 quarterbacks went before Lev Bell at the 205.
Why are people taking quarterbacks that early?
Wow.
It's super flex, man. You got to grab your
care. No, you don't.
Russ, that was so 10 minutes.
All right. That's where I live. I bring things back.
Every time you get asked a question, you should just not respond and then respond 10 minutes later. Just out of nowhere.
Got
now that's a podcast I would listen to.
That
Yes.
literally is how you function for every question, and it's normal.
Got that new DSL. Turn up. So let me ask this. Obviously, the Rams paid Brandon Cook last week. The Rams pay Todd Gurley this week. They're very adamant about staying in the news right now. Next week, hopefully, it's Aaron Donald. And even if it's not, what do we? Last year, I know Jake and I were big on, or at least we thought good things for the Rams offense. Is it more of the same? And one thing that I thought was super interesting, and I'm going to pull this up while you guys try to chat about that a little bit. We, as an offense, I feel like we liked a lot of what the Rams did last year in general. But in terms of where everyone finished for the year, it wasn't incredibly impressive where everybody finished in terms of their position rankings.
Outside of Gurley.
Yes, Gurley notwithstanding. But are we still wheels up with the Rams? Do we think anything's different? Like how does Cooks compare? Matter of fact, kind of a continuation even. Do you guys see Brandon Cooks as a top 12 wide receiver in Dynasty?
No.
You're probably talking to one of the biggest Brandon Cooks truthers on Twitter. So
I was really hoping he was going to say compare Brandon Cooks to Sammy Watkins just to see what your face does.
But I don't know about top 12, but top 15 definitely for me. I'm a big Jared Goff guy too. So in general, and I wrote this article that everyone's talking about how Goff's going to have this down year. And I said, sure, that may happen, but long term, I had him as a top 5. Back when I did rankings, I had him as a top 5 dynasty quarterback for me, which I know is a very, very hot take. But basically, my summation is Rams offense wheels up. I'm very excited to see what they can do.
But that was in Superflex, right? That was 2 QB Superflex. That was in single quarterback ranking, right?
I don't know. It does change. So I think this is on the Dynasty Dummies recently, which is weird because Kyle used to very much not like Superflex, but they're kind of talking about it. And in one quarterback, you definitely want guys who are a little bit safer but still have that upside. Whereas in 2 quarterbacks, I do take more risky guys because you have those 2 starters and you need it to play out. In one quarterback, I probably wouldn't be taking Jared Goff as a top 5 because I definitely need to make sure I'm keeping up with everybody else.
Yeah, and I think well, I don't know if you're referring to the Crossroads episode. Peter and I talked about that with Lamar Jackson, the difference between 1 QB and
maybe the Dummies did it too, but I'll definitely give you guys credit for it.
That's what I need. Give it to me.
Shout out in the chat. Both of those guys. Well, you'd be surprised. Both of those guys are actually in the chat. Okay. Shout out to the live chat here on YouTube. For those that are checking us out via podcast form, obviously we are also a live show on YouTube, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time every Tuesday. Never late, always on time. Punctuality is important to us here at the bar. When did we start? 9:42, something like that. Anyway, so in the chat. Peter and Zach are both actually talking about this. And what up, Stepney? Stepney's in here. Whole crew. Kenny, what's cracking? Bradley Harrison, Spoonie, the big homie Spoonie. Spoonie's in the building as well. But just now, Zach asked the question: Brandon Cooks or Michael Thomas?
Michael Thomas easily.
Michael Thomas.
No, that's not even close. And I'm like the lowest on Michael Thomas you will find.
Okay. I just wanted to throw it. I just wanted to see because the question was posed, and I said that it's not close either. But I know last week a lot of the guys were really high on Brandon Cooks, like top 10, top 12 high. So I was just curious. Anyhow, when we looked at the Rams offense from last year, something that's super interesting, obviously, Gurley was number 1 running back overall. Jared Goff, quarterback 12, so right there, quarterback 1 fringe, quarterback 1. Cooper Kupp was wide receiver 25. And Robert Woods, who everyone seems to love now, and I've liked for a long time, but everyone loves now, was a wide receiver 4.
Well, he only played 11 games.
No, I'm just saying. So he was wide receiver 38. But
what was he points per game though? I think he was pretty.
I can't manipulate Addison's site that quickly. I'm sorry.
Yeah, my friend,
God damn it, Addison.
The one thing I'll say is Robert Woods probably would have been a wide receiver 1 if he just decided to go by Bobby. I don't understand his mistake there.
Bobby Woods.
Yeah, Bobby Woods. That'd be
I think Evan Silva tried to start that movement last year.
Bobby
Silva
Woods?
wanted to call him Bobby Woods. Yeah.
Ah, well then Silva and I are like-minded, and anytime you can say you're like-minded with Silva, that's a good thing.
I was gonna say you look a little Silva-esque right now from this angle without the beard.
That might be the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
I'm on a roll, man. Like being weirded out that I don't hear your voice after Johnny Cash and now this. I mean, I think we're getting a little bit of a bromance going.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens this Friday.
I mean, do you guys just want us to just leave this
Yeah, I'm out.
hang out and you guys can take care of business?
I mean, I kind of like the audience. I don't know about you, Bobby, but
It's business time. So real quick, let's jump into this as well. Since the Todd Gurley contract's taken care of, I'm not sure if you guys have thought about this, but the running back free agency class next year is mighty juicy. I'm not sure if you guys have noticed. Obviously, headlined by one Le'Veon Bell,
DJ
David freaking Johnson.
He's gonna get paid
soon, probably.
He's gonna get locked up.
So I'm gonna pull an outhouse here. Robert Woods was wide receiver 15 in points per game last year.
Nice. So that finish is definitely deceiving.
I saw no gap in between that. We were talking about it, and he said it. Good job.
That was only like
way to pull that up.
That was only half of an outhouse there.
Oh, damn it!
Half an outhouse.
I've become a unit of measurement.
You where did
officially made it, my friend.
You've been Munson.
That was
Nice.
Travis, where'd you go to find that?
No, it was fantasydata.com.
Oh, another resource. All right.
Yeah.
Tevin Coleman also in that list of free agent running backs to be next year.
Sorry, J Mike, you mean Jerick McKinnon part 2, since everyone on fantasy Twitter says Tevin Coleman is Jerick McKinnon. Just really
The next McKinnon.
Yeah, literally everyone. I have this really original take. Jerick McKinnon is Tevin Coleman.
You can't dispute the similar situations, though.
But you also just
And
sorry
Tevin
to go off on
Coleman's
Jerick
actually
McKinnon
been more
here.
impressive than Jerick was in the
Oh, yeah.
Royals.
Oh, no, I love Tevin Coleman. It's just
The
that
situation is
Jerick McKinnon fell into the perfect situation.
Well,
So-
that's what pumped him up, though. I think Tevin Coleman actually has a better skill set and has showed more as a running back and a producer. Obviously, I don't think he needs the landing spot that Jerick needed to see that value bump. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, he's also already decently up there. So
Jerick
it's not
was
like he'll
like-
get as big a bump.
Jerick was like in the 200s last offseason as far as ADP. I mean, Tevin Coleman's always been in the top, 60-ish. So I think it's different, and I don't think he needs the Kyle Shanahan landing spot to get
Except
that
that's what
bump.
he's going to get. And Tevin and Jed are going to be on the same team.
So he'll literally be Jerick McKinnon.
Yeah. They'll just merge into one running back.
Now that guy I would draft.
Just give me that backfield.
Please and thank you. Tevin Coleman or Aaron Jones?
Tevin Coleman.
Tevin Coleman.
Man,
I
really love Aaron Jones.
I love Aaron Jones. I'm so pissed about the suspension, even though it is creating a little buying window. I love getting Aaron Jones in like the 12th round of the Scott Fish Bowl, because if he didn't get suspended, I probably would have been looking at him in like the 7th round. That's how much I believe in his talent.
Yeah, I really like Aaron Jones too. So saying Tevin Coleman did pain me a bit, but I'm also one of those people who will admit that there's a chance that I'm wrong. And
No,
it could be
Bobby.
Jamal Williams or Ty Montgomery.
We are
Double
never
down,
wrong.
Bobby.
Never
Double down.
wrong.
This is
Never
fantasy
been wrong.
football, and you are on Twitter. You are never wrong.
Okay. Excuse me. Aaron Jones, #1 running back overall in fantasy this year, even with the 2-game suspension. That
Damn
belongs
right.
on the pod that J Mike was just on. That was an incredibly hot take. That should have been on the DHH pod to burn some
I'm
eyebrows
still
off.
getting over that pot.
Dude, no spoilers, guys. I'm really behind.
I'm sunburnt from those takes.
Tevin Coleman is going 30 picks ahead of Aaron.
Aloe vera indeed. What'd you say, Travis?
So Tevin Coleman's he's being drafted 30 picks ahead of Tevin Coleman is being drafted 30 picks ahead of Aaron Jones.
Yes.
I think that's
right.
That's because of we know what Tevin's role is this year, and we can foresee what his potential role can be next year. Aaron Jones we love the talent, but he does have Jamal Williams there. He does have Ty Montgomery there, which both are good players. It's just a murky situation. It's hard to invest too much, and that's the thing.
Sure.
Like one of my Van Burf in one of my leagues,
Van Burf.
I always tout Aaron Jones, and he was always like giving me shit about it. And I'm like, listen, I only have one share, and it's in the league we're in together. Like, it's not like I have 12 shares of Aaron Jones. He's like, oh, I thought you would have had more since you like him so much. I'm like, yeah, I like him, but that doesn't mean I'm blind to his situation and his value. Like, that's the difference there, And I talked about it on the last episode of Dynasty Crossroads, and Bobby, mentioned it today. Like, you can like players, you can be in love with the skill set, but that doesn't mean that you're going to go crazy with your valuation of that player.
Yeah, I definitely like that take, Jake, and it's very similar to something I've thought before. For example, we're both known as Adam Thielen guys, but I think if you offer us a crazy deal where we have to give up like Michael Thomas for Adam Thielen, we're both going to be like, listen, I love Adam Thielen, but no, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty close.
I mean, you'd have to pay Jake a lot to trade Adam Thielen. Like,
wide receiver 10, baby.
Yeah. You'd have to make it extra spicy. One more comparison, not just a quick word. Tevin Coleman or Tariq Cohen?
Coleman.
Okay.
Coleman.
Cohen is way too just hope for being pretty.
I love Cohen, but what's his ADP? I think it's top 65-ish. I mean, for me, that's complete upside right there, just because of his role, not because of his talent, but his role there.
It kind of reminds
me. You think is top 65?
I'm pretty sure he's like top 70.
Least a top 100, and it kind of reminds me of the whole Tevin Coleman versus Cohen is the whole Family Guy thing, where the mystery box could be, Tevin Coleman is a boat, and then Tariq Cohen is a mystery box, and the mystery box could be anything, even a boat.
Could even be a boat.
So in this case, you're hoping that more or less Tariq Cohen becomes Tevin Coleman, and at least returns the flex value that Coleman has. And I understand he's younger, but it's all upside at that point, and banking on that upside is not something that I personally like to do. So I would take Coleman.
Yeah, currently, on DLF July ADP, 73.17 is the ADP spot. So that slots him in there at 69 overall.
Nice.
So J-Mike.
I was waiting for somebody to
somebody had to.
What's up, Travis?
Tariq Cohen or Aaron Jones?
Oh,
I'm pretty.
It's Aaron Jones for me. It's not close.
Kick me down the plums.
I might take Cohen there just because of market value, not necessarily talent or.
You think Cohen's? Well, I guess ADP.
Look it up. I guarantee Cohen is way ahead of Aaron Jones ADP wise.
Not way ahead.
I feel like in a trade you can get more.
He's not. What is it?
Not way ahead. So Tariq Cohen, like I said, 69 overall here. Aaron Jones is 87. So yeah, I guess
is he at 87? I thought he was a little bit lower than that. Okay,
that's super interesting.
I think that's gonna fall though even more.
I'm just intrigued by. I'm intrigued by Cohen's possible role in that offense. I don't necessarily love Trubisky.
I do,
and I think to some degree,
First Kareem Hunt and now Mitchell Trubisky. You're really coming after.
He's fine.
Yeah, you're going to talk shit about Evan Ingram here in a second. I'm going to get real upset.
No, me and Evan Ingram are like this.
All right, good.
For those that are listening and can't see me,
we can maintain our internet friendship then.
For those that could, Jake, Jay might super troopers together.
Can you? Let me ask this: Can you like Tariq Cohen and Jordan Howard?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know about that.
Travis hates Jordan Howard, so he definitely has something to say here.
Did we just become best friends, Travis?
I don't know that you can. I mean, you can to an extent, I guess. Like they're both going to score fantasy points. That's going to happen.
I think that might be the point of what we do.
Hashtag analysis.
Hey, hard hitting facts, nothing but facts. I just find it interesting that if we're looking at Tariq Cohen getting a boost in the offense, I'm just curious how we're going to continue to see Jordan Howard.
Well, I think that's the problem. Jordan Howard's value is going down, and Tariq Cohen's value is going up, and it's the opposite.
You think it should be the opposite, Jake?
Yep.
So you think that Jordan Howard's role is going to be the same thing?
Yeah. I think.
You guys see that blurb that Jordan Howard, quote unquote, could be a third down back this year? Dude, I about pissed my pants.
Yeah, third one all day.
To Jake's point, though, you don't need Jordan Howard to be a third down back, really. If he gets his 20 catches or whatever it is, and he's as good as he is on first and second down, he was a running back 12 or 13 in PPR last year, which was his first format.
Dude, Jordan Howard has done with that shit of an offense, when all the defenses know they have one threat the last 2 years, has been so impressive as a runner.
Travis was so upset by us talking about Jordan Howard in a positive way that he left.
That just happened.
We hardly knew you, Travis. RIP.
Yeah, good riddance, Travis.
You were saying, Jake.
Please come back.
No, I just don't think it's we love these PPR upside running backs. Like, we all love pass catchers. We all love running backs that can do it all. But what's wrong with having a role and being really good at what you do? That's my problem. Is touchdowns still are important. Carries are still really important. Like, even in a points per carry league, where I think Jordan Howard carries more value, where Christian McCaffrey carries less value in that kind of format. Even in those formats, Jordan Howard's being extremely devalued, in my opinion. And that's just I just don't understand it. Like, the hate tends just to go too far. There's flaws. Yes. Is he perfect? No. But the hate just escalates because of this flaw that he has in his game, which I just.
Are we talking about Jordan Howard or Derrick Henry? I just want to know.
Well, is Travis ready to come back or no?
Yeah, Travis stepped outside for a second, he calmed himself down, did some meditation.
I need a cigarette right now.
I actually thought about that Jordan Howard 3-down back blurb, and I passed out from laughing. So.
Yeah,
all right.
Go ahead.
No, in a quick lull, I have to say, Jake, you have the loudest water bottle I have ever seen / heard in my entire life.
That's not water, baby.
I said bottle.
That's not chocolate. That's doo-doo, baby.
Any drink sound is that's money on this podcast. Opening a can of beer is so good for this show. So any drink sound is good.
Pop the top with your boys. You already know.
I feel like I'm the only one drinking it too. Real nice, guys. Real nice.
All right, finish, my man. All right, finish.
Okay.
And I don't think it's I don't think it's a case where people hate Jordan Howard. I think that, and I don't know, maybe I'm starting to, but he's super. That's the thing. He's super valuable, and obviously what he does really well. Like you said, he was in a crap offense, was able to produce massively over his first 2 seasons, which is great. I'm just curious how, with this new offense, with my guy Anthony Miller about to wreck stuff, with Allen Robinson and all the influx of weapons, Trey Burton, all that stuff going on. Obviously, like to counter your point from before, Jake, the offense is no longer going to be crap, or at least doesn't project to be crap. The influx of talent has been exponentially increased. So what does that look like when you don't have John Fox as head coach, who's just going to give it to Howard till he pukes? And, I'm just curious how it all works out. So that's why I'm intrigued about Cohen. And I certainly think Jordan Howard still has the ability to finish as a running back too. I don't think I'm curious of his ceiling, but RB2 is probably fair for him.
Yeah, I think mid RB2 is fair, and that's a good value for where you're getting him, And the thing is, with that kind of running back, there's a huge touchdown upside. So if that offense is better, there's going to be more touchdown upside there. And I think people get a little bit obsessed about volume, and I understand how important that is, but efficiency is also important. So if a player is getting a hair less volume, but their efficiency is much better, like Nagy runs shotgun a lot, right? So one, Mitchell Trubisky played almost entirely out of shotgun in North Carolina. And two, Jordan Howard was way better in shotgun formations, and he was never utilized there the last 2 years. So I think there's some give and take there.
Yeah, I'm a little biased because I wrote an article about this called "An Inconvenient Running Back, Jordan Howard" on DLF back in February or March.
I want to cut you off, Bobby, and just say you always have the best names for articles.
Thank you. I tried. That one was actually, I have to give credit for that one now that you said that, though, because that wasn't me. I was stuck I finished the entire article and then was stuck coming up with an article name. And our friend and your co-host, Peter Howard, came up with that name. So shout out to Peter Howard for giving me that name. And it worked out really well. And it just fit the motif where he is inconvenient because he's inconvenient because he's valuable, but people don't want him to be valuable because he doesn't fit into the narrative of you want that pass catching back as your elite back. And to Jake's point, he faced, and I talked to Adam Spinks about this, he faced, if I recall offhand, stacked boxes something like 40% of the time. And it was fifth or fourth most in the entire league of any running back. So having a better offense does help him in that it will lead to, as Jake said, increased touchdown opportunity. And people won't be able to stack the box as much against him because they'll actually have to worry about wide receiver weapons and not, who did they have there last year? Kendall Wright was there, right? Wasn't it Kendall Wright?
Wide receiver.
Right. Kevin White.
Yeah, Kevin White. I think
who else was there?
They're going for the Susical, so it must be White, Wright,
Bellamy. That's right, Bellamy.
Sorry, his name's not Bellamy. It's Blight now, guys.
I got the joke, Bobby.
Yeah, thank you. Someone got it. Someone's a dad. I'm not a dad yet, but I have dad humor.
Yeah. So I totally understand the argument. If your argument is the offense is going to be better and therefore all of the fantasy options are going to be more efficient, I can buy into that a little bit. My problem with Jordan Howard, though, if you guys had to guess, how many usable fantasy weeks do you think he had last year out of 16 games?
Can we define usable?
Yeah, I was going to say, how are we defining usable?
Usable. We'll pull some arbitrary numbers from his finishes here.
Okay.
And we'll say RB 26 or better on a weekly basis.
All right. First, I just want to say this is how you know these guys are much smarter than I am. I was ready to shout a number out, and they're like, "Whoa, let's figure this out."
Well, I'd also like to point out that I wrote that article in response to Travis's hatred of Jordan Howard. Actually, I was listening to Superflex, and I went, "This is not right. I am very upset. I'm going to write an article to show you how wrong you are." So
I have another.
My whole role.
Now, I want to say something to piss Bobby off so much that he has to write an article about it.
There you go. my role is not.
My articles came from for a while was just Travis or someone on Superflex Pod and making me mad.
It's mostly me. Let's be honest. It's okay. My goal is to not create content at all. It's just to piss other people off enough to where they create content.
So you got to change your handle to the Dynasty Muse.
Yeah.
Muse NFL. It's open.
It's probably. I'm going to look into that. So how many out of 16 weeks?
I think it was probably half.
12.
I'm going 6.
I'm going to split the difference between Jake and Mike and say 7.
You would.
You're all wrong.
Right.
So it was 8.
Oh.
But check this out. He had 5 games. So 8 of them were above RB 26. And to be fair, 8 of them were above RB 18. But then he had 8 finishes, 27 or worse. But he had 5 finishes, 5 weeks you started him, and he finished as the RB 43, 57, 67, 62, 79.
Do you want to go back 2 years and
man.
pull up Todd Gurley's stat line with Jeff Fisher as his head coach?
That's not chocolate.
Because John Fox is Jeff Fisher.
I will
incarnated.
That, you know, man, Jake, that is a fair point, dude. And that's what I guess what I'm saying is if that's your argument, is that the offense is going to be better, and so he's going to be less sporadic and more efficient. I mean, I think I'm on board with that. As far as, you know, I mean, I don't. Again, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. There's going to be a point where I'm going to draft Jordan Howard, but I'm not going to reach on.
All I know is I wrote an entire article and you couldn't convince you're wrong. And Jake says like 2 words and you're like, yeah, maybe I was wrong.
First of all, I never said maybe I was wrong. Ever. I will never, ever say that. Ever.
The muse
There was some doubt that entered your voice there where you were like, yeah, all right. I can kind of see where basically what Jake said is what I was coming at with the article. And you're like, no, Bobby, you're fucking wrong about this.
It's all about the delivery, Bobby.
I can't ever let anybody know that they have altered my opinion of a player.
I love how he goes on that diatribe about his article. I am weak. Oh man, he was so upset.
Yeah, man, Jake, you had some really good points there, Jake.
Yeah, good job, Jake. Good job.
He'll take them into consideration.
Thanks. Bobby wrote an article about it.
Oh, I wasn't aware. I'll have to check that out.
To be fair,
I love
Jake
that
does
Bobby
a lot.
writes so much because we value players very similarly. So basically, he just writes through me.
I was going to say more so I write these really long arguments and then Jake says like 2 sentences and everyone's like, yeah, great point, Jake. Like,
Well said. Tell you what, that Jake, he's a genius.
Laziness wins sometimes, Bobby.
Bobby, get it together. You got any articles you want to write?
At the moment, no. I have a Case Keenum one coming out soon now. Everyone should check that out.
Oh Lord,
Bobby, if you would have just tweeted your article out in separate tweets, I probably would have conceded your point.
From now on, I'm not even going to write articles. I'm just going to like pay Jake $10 to sum up what I'm trying to say in 2 sentences.
That works great for me too.
Well, so wait, what do you? Go ahead, Travis.
I was just going to say, let's finish off Jordan Howard conversation. I mean, he's just not very good.
Travis like, I'm getting last word in, and I don't care if this is going to be the whole episode, but you guys are going to just get exhausted by this and give up at some point.
Yep.
All right, moving on.
I just want to let everyone know in terms of where you can find Travis on Twitter with all your hate mail. That's at Travis NFL. You can send all the hate mail there. He's the guy.
There's no such
Jordan
thing.
Howard's mom.
There's no such thing as bad publicity, man.
Yeah, Miss Howard's about to come find you. So you just brought up Case Keenum, which I feel like Denver's someone who's kind of been overlooked this entire offseason for a large degree. Obviously, Demaryius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, both guys who were probably looking at their last season in Denver with the cap hits that they're about to have that are exploding. Bobby, am I ruining your article right now?
Not particularly, no. Not yet, anyway.
Did you write an article? Jake, did he write an article, Jake?
It's in the works, I think.
Okay.
No, it's been submitted. It has to be in the review process.
Well, that's the thing. I didn't approve because we disagree on this one. So, he was writing
according
this.
to Jake, it's never coming out, and you should never read it.
That's correct. I mean, this is in spite of what I recommended him to do. So I will not be taking cliff notes and then taking credit for his.
Jake will not be summing up this article for me in 2 sentences, is what he's saying.
So what you're saying is you're not going to get any of us on board because Jake's not going to summarize for you.
Exactly. Nobody will be on board with this.
I'm going to summarize why it's wrong, Bobby.
You might as well stop writing now then. Why are you even trying?
I had to attempt it.
The running back situation, I think everything right now in Denver is so fascinating. You've got the Chargers, where I think right now is kind of the class of the AFC West right now, kind of by default.
Chiefs
well, just because the Chiefs defense looks, I mean,
but the Chiefs offense is also what the Chiefs defense is potentially.
What,
They're
unproven?
actually the opposite.
Yeah, I have no idea where you were going with that.
No, I think the Chargers have a chance to be the top defense, or at least top 3. And I think the Chiefs offense has a chance to be a top 3
I'm with
offense.
You. I'm with you.
That makes more sense.
I'm with you now.
I thought you said the Chiefs offense is the same as the Chiefs defense.
Yeah, that's where that's where my brain
they're
went.
different.
So
it's a total different 11 dudes, I swear.
So I feel like Denver is somewhere we should talk about for a second because of the fact that I'm seeing all these Royce Freeman love throughout Twitter as many camps, or excuse me, training camps are opening all over the league. What do we make? Case Keenum just showed us years worth of meh. Also under Jeff Fisher. Thanks a lot for wasting that, Jeff. He showed us a lot of meh, but last season he showed out super efficient, really good for Jake's Minnesota Vikings. 2 incredibly talented wide receivers, although aging wide receivers, incredibly talented guys. Royce Freeman there, Jake Butt set to make his triumphant return to carry the mantle of tight end in Denver. What are we doing with Denver right now? Because I find them super interesting. Do you really?
I hold on, let me just there. That's me and the Denver offense.
Come on now.
All of it.
You think Case Keenum is support that whole offense?
Oh no!
Well, I mean, it's not like.
Hold on. I'm sorry. Wait, Russ. I apologize for interrupting. Zach in the comment section said Royce Freeman is Jordan Howard meets Melvin Gordon.
No, Royce Freeman's not nearly as good as either of them. Royce Freeman's probably one of the most overdrafted rookies as far as ADP goes.
I just find that mix funny. Like, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I don't know if that's a compliment or not.
No, I think it is. I think he likes Royce Freeman. If you're going to bring up those 2 guys, I think he does. Tell us, Zach, do you like him? Go ahead, Russ. I apologize. You were saying.
No, see, I love everything about this Denver offense because I don't really necessarily care about Manny Sanders, but I'm still a Demaryius Thomas believer. But next year, like you said, I think each of them will cost like $2 million in dead cap. And
yeah.
I love Cortland Sutton. I love Deshaun Hamilton. And I'm still a Carlos Henderson believer. So I think that wide receiver core and being a Royce Freeman fan as well, it's just like I love everything they did. So by default, I have to go with Bobby and like Case Keenum, because if Keenum sucks, so does the rest of the people I love.
I'll get ready for that. And listen, I like all those wide receivers too. I mean, I was a big Carlos Henderson guy. I like Deshaun Hamilton. I like Cortland Sutton. DT's a great value right now. Emmanuel Sanders is a good value, but I just don't see a high-powered offense coming out of Case Keenum. I really don't.
Does it need to be?
I'm trying to think how to respond without ruining the entire article. It's really tough.
So just let me talk and not actually know what I'm talking about. Then it's good. I mean, like, think about it. Does Keenum need to be good to make this Denver offense go?
I think that's
all you need to do
has to happen.
Wait, no. I was about to say things otherwise. How hard is it to throw a bubble screen? That's all you need to do. I mean, Demaryius Thomas, I think, can still catch a bubble screen and take it a couple of yards. Royce Freeman, if anything, he could run the ball a lot because that's what he's done. And then Emmanuel Sanders just run really fast and just close your eyes and throw. It's not that difficult. Again, like a dying Peyton Manning. That's the right team, right? Yeah, totally took these guys to the won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, you're getting Peyton Manning's dying arm without his mind.
So, all right, I can't not.
I'm really just
no. Come on, man. No, I'm
trying to
stalling
hear
until
Bobby
the subject changes.
Come on, Bobby. Come on, Bobby.
I'm talking as much shit as I can about this offense until Bobby loses.
Wait, real quick, I got a quick question. Russ, are you wearing a glove?
No.
Moving forward.
All right. So that is sad.
No follow-up, Travis.
I don't know where
He's like, I still don't believe it. I still see it.
I was just
Still
curious.
see it.
Fake news. All right.
J Mike, are you wearing a glove?
Is that latex?
It's my podcasting glove.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
It's the power glove.
He's wearing a Nintendo Power Glove right
Maximize the grip, man.
I'm pretty sure he was wearing a glove and he just took it off real quick.
I don't appreciate you blowing up my spot like that.
Sorry, man. You're the one that wore a glove to a live YouTube show. That's all I'm saying.
When else am I going to wear a glove?
Fair enough. All right, Bobby, defend your Case Keenum.
Yeah, so this isn't going to be the entire article, but just some key points here. Remember earlier how we mentioned how Jeff Fisher is a horrendous coach and makes everyone look bad, including Todd Gurley and Jared Goff? Before Case Keenum ended up on the Vikings, you want to guess who his coach was? Oh, it was Jeff Fisher. Look at that. And one really quick thing, taking it back to college, and I know it's been a long time since college, but he was the all-time Division I passing leader and passing touchdown leader. So in college, he is actually a good quarterback. And for the most part, he's found himself in really unideal situations, except for when he got to the Vikings. So without getting too much into it, I'll also give one other quick stat, which was that over his last 24 starts where he attempted, or what was it? Yeah, where he attempted at least 10 passes, he finished as a fantasy QB2 or better 66.6% of the time, meaning not just with the Vikings, but over his last two seasons, when he attempted at least 10 passes, 66.6 or 2/3 of the time or better, he was at least a quarterback too. So with all the offensive weapons in Denver, which I do think are a downgrade from the Vikings, shout out to Jake, because I know he'd get pissed off if I said it wasn't. I think that Case Keenum will be a very serviceable superflex quarterback for the duration of his time in Denver, and that's also because I'm very confident in the weapons that they drafted this year. For the rest, you'll have to actually read the article because I'm not going to make myself get winded.
I mean, there's only 32 quarterbacks.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wait. What does
top 24 quarterbacks not that impressive?
What does serviceable mean exactly? I need you.
I will put this take on it. He will be a mid-range QB2, meaning he will finish somewhere in like the 16 to 18 range across those 2 to 3 seasons in Denver.
Okay, quick.
Don't think so.
Matt Ryan or Case Keenum?
Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan. Okay.
Mitchell Trubisky.
Can we just
Case
pull
Keenum.
up this?
Trubisky.
Okay. Let's just go. Let's say, the next 3 years. Baker Mayfield, Case Keenum.
Baker.
Of course it's Baker.
Okay, so I just went. So that's 18. That's 18, 19, 20 on DLF's ADP.
And
Bobby,
here Bobby has Case Keenum as his quarterback 30 in Superflex.
So right now Case Keenum's going at 28, but I named off 18, 19, and 20. You took 18, 19, and 20, Robert.
What I'm trying to say, J Mike, is that Case Keenum will be a good fill-in for you while those younger guys develop. So, of course, long-term, I want Baker Mayfield because I think Baker Mayfield is going to be amazing and has the ability to be maybe even a top 12 guy. I don't think Case Keenum is a top 12 guy. But while Baker Mayfield is developing, sure, do I want Case Keenum starting for my team this year while I have Baker Mayfield on my bench? Absolutely.
I hear you, brother. I'm just giving you.
What are you buying Case Keenum for in Superflex?
If anyone offered
2018 picks.
Yeah, so if anyone offered me, let's say, a mid to late second in Superflex, and I get Case Keenum for that, I'd do it.
I mean, that's
Even
a
if-
starting quarterback, really.
I'll say even like early mid, so talking like 204 to 206 range. I'll take it.
Oh boy,
that's Anthony Miller range in the Superflex.
Yeah,
I would give.
What?
I didn't think I was high on Keenum, but I'd probably give like the 202
Oh,
Damn.
in Superflex if I need a quarterback. Absolutely, because those 4 guys are gone.
just pay a little more and get a better
you're-
quarterback.
You could probably get a better quarterback.
But sure, you could do
Pay
that.
a little bit more and get Phillip Rivers.
Hey, if you want to go get a better guy, fine. But
Wait,
that's not what
let
we're
me
talking
give
about right now.
Jake's 2 sentences against Keenum, because since I've had this conversation with him, I know exactly what they are. Which is, Case Keenum can't play outside of domes. That's it. That's all you get.
He's not good outdoors.
That was one sentence.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's all I need.
Sorry, Case Keenum can't play outside of domes. He sucks. There you go. 2 sentences.
The second sentence was the best part of that, though. I just don't see him playing well outdoors in fucking Denver, of all places.
So, Jake, Case Keenum or Josh Allen?
Josh Allen slightly in Superflex.
Dude.
Wow.
The disrespect.
Dude, you guys don't think that Josh Allen is going to actually get an opportunity to start for at least 3 seasons?
Yeah, but he's
So
going
is
to be
Case
bad at
Keenum.
it.
Yeah, so is Case Keenum. He's bad. He's not good.
No. I said, so is Case Keenum going to be able to start?
Okay.
No, he was the
for a
MVP.
year. For a year, I'd say.
I don't know. Those
So are you-
contract are pretty airtight. For
I'm hashtag Team Chad Kelly anyways.
I was
that's-
literally
that's-
just going to ask you that question.
That's a loan if they don't draft somebody high next year, you know?
But they're not going to put him out right away. So that gives him another year to
If
hopefully
they
not
have
lose
a
his
top
job that
10
year.
pick and they draft a quarterback in the top 10, there's a good chance that he starts right away.
It sounds more likely that I'm going to make a pony bet with Jake than I am with Russ on this episode.
Wait, no, let's do this. No, let's do an open bar bet before too
Yeah,
long.
but how much higher do you have Case Keenum than Josh Allen in Superflex rankings?
And just to give you a quick heads up,
That's
not
not
the
the
bet
bet
I
I'm
was
going to make.
they're back to back in July DLF ADP. Case Keenum's 28, Josh Allen's 29.
Oh, did you hear
That
that? Keenum's first.
Very
That's
was
fine.
I will
Listen,
take any
one
bet.
spot difference, fine.
I'll take a pony bet that Case Keenum finishes the 2019 season as the Broncos starter. You'll
No
have to
one's
wait
going to
2 years
remember
to find
that.
out, but I'll take that bet.
That's the most boring bet.
This is America, Bobby. Where's my instant gratification? Year and a half
Right.
long.
How about
bet.
you just put the pony avatar up now, and then we'll see what happens at the end of
We'll
2019.
take it
You
down
have to
at the
leave
end
it
of
up.
2019.
So if I do it for 2 years, keeping that pony up there, and then it turns out that I'm right, Jake has to have a pony avatar for the rest of his existence on Twitter.
Fine, I'll just quit Twitter at that point.
MySpace
All of a
will
sudden,
be
we're
back
going to
in.
see a new.
Let's face it,
Jake-
it's
We're gonna
not,
see a
Jake
new-
Fanderson.
let's
with
face
a
it, it's
mustache.
not working out anyways.
In 2 years, Twitter might not even exist anymore.
Jake Fanders.
Oh, that's too good.
Oh man. When you say serviceable, Bobby, that just makes me laugh. I can't get it out of my head. He's
By
going to be
serviceable,
serviceable.
I
in
mean, he'll
Superflex.
be someone you want starting for your team as your QB2.
That's fair. Very fair. So, with all that being said, I know, Russ, you were just saying you're kind of wheels up on Denver.
Yeah.
Are we? So you like Demarius, and Demarius sneakily fringe wide receiver 1 last year.
Always gets those yards. It was the touchdowns that faded a little bit.
Well, I say fringe, kind of a little outside the fringe, I guess, in the rough. Wide receiver 16, close enough.
I'll
But-
take it.
Yeah, well, yeah, that'll work. So is anybody? Do we have any Devontae Booker truthers here?
No, but I'm so far against Royce Freeman that I think he's going to get some touches.
I bought Booker for a third in one league just because if
Might
it
as well.
doesn't hit, I won't be mad, and if it does hit, I'll be super happy. But I wouldn't call
D'Angelo
myself.
Henderson, baby. No, nothing from no one.
That looks good on you. Oh, whoa. Sorry. I'm having some technical difficulties there. All right, good deal. So we are I don't have anything else that I feel like I have to talk about. What's on your mind, or even folks in the chat? What do you guys want to chop up here in the next little bit before we close out?
Or you just never want to close out. I'm liking
I
this.
feel like we just got started.
Look, I love it. I love it. So if we can keep it going and it's great, I'm all about it. But I just know that Denver. I don't know what to think. I just think that I think that they're incredibly intriguing, especially with Case Keenum, Royce Freeman coming in, Demarius and Emmanuel, and Emmanuel Sanders. I mean, you talk about perpetually slept on. That guy's healthy, man.
Don't forget to talk about Cortland Sutton. Gabe will be very upset with you if you don't mention Sutton.
Yeah, as he is coined, you're busting my Suttons. Quick heads up. Emmanuel Sanders from 2014 to 2016. So a 3-year run. Wide receiver 5, obviously the Peyton Manning year. Wide receiver 19, wide receiver 19. So a guy that can show he can be a very good wide receiver 2 for your teams, but last year was wide receiver 62. I don't know. I'm guessing he didn't play a full season.
He was hurt and he missed. Yeah.
He had an ankle injury.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably also drafting him as wide receiver 50-something, so that's awesome value.
I think he could actually outproduce DT this year, just because if Case is going to succeed somewhere, he's going to succeed in that slot position. And you saw him target Thielen over and over and over last year, and kind of not even look at Diggs' way. So I think if you're looking at a target in that offense for this season, I think it is Emmanuel Sanders at the price you're paying.
That's one Denver take that Jake and I agree on.
If Case can throw it somewhere, he can throw it to the slot position.
That's actually Bobby's entire article.
He's just going to throw to Emmanuel Sanders for like 3,000 yards. Don't worry about it.
He can throw to the slot position.
The other news or fodder, if you will, for the fantasy community, and I feel like every week we talk about this, or we talk about this team, and people don't hate us for it. So we might as well touch on it because it's kind of a big deal. Josh Gordon. Well, I don't even think it's necessarily a big deal, but let's talk about it. Josh Gordon, obviously taking a quote unquote leave of absence. Actually, nobody used that term except for me. So I'm quoting myself.
I was just going to say
from the team, self-proclaimed leave of absence. Is anyone scared at all?
They already said he's coming back soon, and it's. I think people are blowing this way out of proportion.
I've actually gotten into like Twitter arguments, and I don't argue with people because I just want people to like me too much about this today, because everyone's giving shit about he's anxious about going, to play football again, or he's scared or whatever, or he relapsed again. Like, I don't think people actually understand what real anxiety or depression is. And the fact that he admitted to playing football drunk and high. So he's going back to this needing to be completely clean like he never was before. I don't think people actually appreciate how difficult that will be for him as a human being. And I've literally just had to put my phone, I've never really put Twitter down before in the past year that I've been Dynasty Outhouse. I actually put my phone down for a minute because it's just no, these people need to realize, yeah, he has millions of dollars, but he's a human being. And that is really fucking difficult what he's going through. And yeah, and who cares if he's missing training camp anyway? But completely besides the point. The fact that he's actually doing this is a good thing for him mentally, for him to be able to recognize that he would have issues if he went there is better than him going there and fucking up, both as a person and for a fantasy football asset.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
100% on board with you, Russ. I
Yeah,
think you put
can't
it.
say
I think
any
you put it
better
very
than
well.
Russ.
Yeah, I think people have no problem if players want to hold out for a contract situation, but a player holding out for his own mental health and well-being, that's a big issue. I don't see the problem there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all about taking preemptive measures, right? Like,
Yeah, it's not, and I think the worst part about all that was people were like saying, well, it's pretty convenient time for you to, feel like you have to go get some rehab or therapy. Well, I don't think this was like planned out, like, oh shit, training camp is starting. I'm just gonna go get some therapy real quick. I mean, I think he's certainly having some anxiety and some issues with this process unfolding. So you'd much rather see him be preemptive and take matters into his own hands and say, okay, I'm going to just try to do this, even though I think I may need help, so he doesn't fall back into, a bad position that he may have in the past.
The only thing I'd add there is anyone who had those takes likely didn't watch the documentary about him. And if they didn't, I'd highly recommend watching it, because there's nothing more humanizing to a football player than watching that documentary about Josh Gordon talking about the struggles he went through. And if you have those takes, I really don't know what to say to you, because you clearly don't understand mental health. And it's actually a very good thing that he's trying to take care of himself.
Yeah. And it's also what made me feel bad after years of calling Eddie Lacy fat. Eddie Lacy was reading that article, or was it a video? I don't remember, the interview where he explained how much of depression led to him eating and being overweight. I'm like, oh, great. Now I'm an asshole.
Yeah,
I think you were before, probably.
Well, same thing with Brandon Marshall, like the years and years where, he was just an idiot for, punching a TV or whatever he was doing, or getting all the trouble that he was getting into. And, now he's come out and been a huge advocate for mental health, and actually is like improved himself. And I don't think we put that into context sometimes.
I was reading a big name analyst. I think it might have been JJ.
It was JJ.
Timeline. Yeah. And he was talking about how he used to call players like idiots for doing things that basically like Josh Gordon's doing. And he realized what he's doing and really tries not to do stuff like that and pass judgment on players. Because we do have to remember, and I know this is open bar and we're all drinking, having fun, but we do have to remember these football players are humans. And it's not really our place to say what they should or shouldn't be doing.
Did you hear that, Dynasty Twitter? Did you hear that, Dynasty Twitter? The humans, people, not just numbers.
Until football season starts, then they are
right.
Numbers and assets. But it's only July, so there's still people.
It is a rule.
Shares and everything else.
Keep players' Twitter handles out of your feed.
Yes, 100%.
Good call.
I honestly, I don't even care if it's good stuff. Just keep them out. Just keep them out.
Yes.
Say their name. That's fine. Like if they want to search themselves.
If you want to be Devontae Parker, be Devontae Parker.
Right, but don't get people's Twitter handles involved in our stupid little community that we have going.
One time I said something nice about Cooper Kupp, and his grandma was appreciative of it on Twitter. So there you go. But I didn't tag her or tag him or anything. So.
Oh, you didn't tag his grandma?
Cooper Kupp's grandma.
Yes, tag the player's grandparents.
I don't even know how to end that sentence.
Is it at Grandma Cup?
I can't remember what it was. I think
2 grandmas, 1 cup.
it was like
Oh. And that's our show.
And it's been fun on the show, guys.
We just brought in Meemaw Cup. That ain't right. I've got an interesting one for you. This was thrown out in the chat. I need to go back and find out who said it. I mean, and shout out to Tyler Gunther. He's joining us in the chat. Josh Jordan, also from the Happy Hour Bar Tab League. Happy Hour Bar Tab. No, that's not right. No, is that? Golly, I can't even get the name.
That sounds right, and I'm not in it, but
I can't even. I thought it was maybe. Anyway, Bar Tab. We'll just call it Bar Tab. Also, before I get into that, what was said up here, Russ. So Tyler comes in and goes, "Wait, that's Outhouse." I want to find the quote. Why did I picture him not as good looking of a man?
I told you. I told you.
Because you're picturing some dude in a porta potty on his phone.
Hey,
Dynasty.
porta potties
Doing the stinker
are
stinker.
outhouses. Let's not confuse this.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't see outhouses every day of my life.
Exactly.
Porta potties are the new outhouse.
They're discount outhouses. That's what they are.
If you don't
There's
got to
going to
dig
be
your
a
own
new
hole,
Twitter
it's not
handle
an
that's
outhouse.
called like Dynasty Porta Potty now.
That's your burner account.
It's just going to be my hype man. Whenever I say something, I'll make sure that account likes it and goes, "Yeah, I agree with that." Make sure I never have a terrible take. At least one person likes it.
A couple of titles for some articles for you here, Bobby. Over the river, over the river to Grandma's Cup by Bobby Koch. that was from Zach from the Dummies.
Nice.
Then Peter Howard says, "Why, Grandma? What big hands you have?" by Bobby Koch.
I'll have to find a way to work those in. I'm sure the editors at DLF will appreciate that. Sorry, James. I'm sorry.
The better to still. Oh gosh. Zach says, "The better to steal targets from Brandon Cooks, my dear." On a roll. On a roll. That's good. Okay. Keenan Allen or Mike Evans?
That's really close. That's really close.
Keenan Allen. I'll be
I'll
that
take
guy.
Keenan Allen.
Yeah, I think I'm taking Evans there, and I'm a huge Keenan fan.
Not anymore. You're not.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, right.
I'd also take.
You can't like both of them.
I'd take Julio over Keenan too.
Two light skinned brothers enter. Only one man. Only one light skinned brother leaves. You can't have both of them in the same room like that, Jake. You gotta pick one.
Yeah, Mike Evans.
Did y'all hear that? Y'all hear that? Jake hates Keenan Allen.
Peter Howard
Hates
is so
Keenan
pissed
Allen.
at me right now.
Yeah, because he's the one that put it in the chat. I found the comment.
He hates Mike Evans.
Oh wow, Tyler Gunther just said Mike Evans overall wide receiver 2. Where do you guys have Mike Evans ranked?
He's borderline top 5-ish.
Yeah, wide receiver 5 or 6. Thinking of it, I don't actually write things down, so I like to make things up as I go along. I'll say 5 or 6.
Yeah, I stopped doing rankings, but 5 or 6
I like the
sounds
way you
about
roll.
right.
I like the way you roll. What's your article say, Bobby, about it?
Read an article about Mike Evans being top 5.
Jake,
I'm gonna go with 7.
can you help me understand what he's talking about?
I can't in this scenario. It's too short to start with.
They're back to back. I was just curious. They're back to back in DLF ADP. Travis, who'd you say?
Oh, I said 7, wide receiver 7. I'll take Keenan Allen.
Okay.
Vontae Adams above Mike Evans too.
Ugh.
Gross.
No.
At
I
me,
can't
bro.
get on board with that.
No. Oh. You can't count on those touchdowns, Travis.
Sure you can.
No, you really
Oh, we never thought of it like that before.
Oh, porta potty coming in hot.
Jedi mind tricked you without moving a muscle. Yeah, you can.
Man, if there's one offense that you can count on touchdowns in, it's that offense, man.
That's a fair point.
And how many
Jimmy,
touchdowns did he have
Emmett,
from
Effer,
Brett
Graham.
Hundley?
10.
I rest
Jimmy
my
Graham's
case.
going to be the new.
I rest my
No. I'm still arguing it though.
No, it's
Jimmy
been
Graham-
rested.
Okay, never mind.
It is decided.
Shut your face. Shut your face. Shut your face.
Oh shoot. Wow, they just said Keenan equals Hopkins. Keenan Allen equals, and that was another Peter Howard original. Keenan equals
Oh, come
DeAndre.
on.
I mean, damn.
little too much Keenan Love for me.
I mean, they're
Yeah, that's even too much for me.
they're completely different players.
Who's your number one wide receiver in Dynasty? Just curious.
Hashtag always Odell.
Yeah, always Odell.
Always Odell.
Oh, we know how Travis feels. Moving on.
I love how Travis can shift the whole mood of the conversation with the sounds. He doesn't have to say a word. Just
I feel like we've been fighting too much. I don't want to say. I don't want to get into the whole Odell Beckham thing.
Travis' number one is actually Devontae Adams, guys.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for.
Let him talk because this will spree this another hour. I have a feeling.
do it, Travis.
It's Hopkins. I rest my case.
So is it Hopkins then OBJ?
Unfortunately, yeah. I just don't like rooting
You
for
must
the dude,
really
man.
hate Odell.
I don't like
listen to
rooting
the
for
Play down at wide receiver too.
Or sorry, the Superflex show now. Travis continually just hates on Odell. That's one of his like calling cards.
Trademark.
Yeah, but see, I'm able to not like the guy and still realize what kind of dynasty asset he is. So I mean, I'm not going
Clearly
crazy.
not, because you have him at 2.
yeah, there you go. Fair enough. I don't like rooting for him, man. I don't like watching him play. I don't know. He's not my cup of tea.
You don't like good players.
No, he's a baby. I don't like babies.
I guess I can't really argue with that.
He's a drama queen.
You don't like Tom Brady?
There's a difference between a baby and a baby face.
He's fiery.
No.
He's not.
He's
don't
not
act
like
bad
Tom
or
Brady
anything.
doesn't act like a little bitch sometimes.
So you
Part
saw
of
that
it's
one.
competitiveness, but like
So Jake,
he acts like a little bitch. I mean, but a lot of athletes do because they care so much. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's just emotion.
sure. So you saw that one video cut up that Odell put out of him and Tom Brady. Is that what happened?
No, I didn't see it.
Yeah, you did. Come on.
I didn't see any video cut up.
No, it was a long time ago, but it was everybody was getting pissed when he was. I think it was right after he did the thing with the kicking net, and he put out a video, and it was like cut up of Tom Brady like freaking out on the sidelines, and then going back to him freaking out on the sidelines, and he was like, you guys are all over me, but you're not all over this guy about it.
Hashtag yo, that's racist.
Right.
Awkward silence there.
Yeah, it was just as good as the face everybody made when J-Mag was like, 2 light-skinned brothers walk in. We're just like...
Everybody's like, can I laugh? Is it okay?
No comment.
Will he block me on Twitter? Like, what's going to happen? Oh, that's funny.
I mean, my wife hates Phillip Rivers because
you look just like him and she hates you.
Ooh, wow. Damn.
But because she thinks he acts like a little bitch. And like I get it, but like for me, that's who he is. And like I'm not afraid of athletes showing some emotion on the football field. Like I think that can be a good thing.
If I was Phillip Rivers, I'd be cursing up a storm. If I was any player on an NFL team, I'd be cursing up a storm. No, I play skee ball and I curse up a storm.
Oh, I can't wait to see this on Friday.
We've been meeting to talk to you about this. This is actually an intervention.
We're going to be
for
playing
your
some
anger problems.
and Bobby's just going to be losing his mind.
Open bar intervention.
We're here
I'd
for you,
watch that
Bobby.
show.
We're here for you, Bobby. Can we? Oh man, this is what's going on in here. The Antonio Brown not hate. I guess just the perceived disrespect that I'm feeling right now.
By who?
He's gonna be 30.
I mean, I get he's gonna be 30. I'm just saying, like when we look at his finishes over like the last 5 years, they've all got like a 3 or better beside them. Like it's
hard to run routes when you're holding onto a walker. It's
AB's my wide receiver 3. He's a top 5 dynasty asset for me.
Yes.
Jerry Rice was killing it at whatever age he was. I'm just saying.
What other outliers can you come up with?
Who else? Who else has finished remotely close, as consistent as Antonio Brown has in the last however many years you want to go back?
Antonio Brown's awesome, dude. It's just dynasty, and he's old. That's it.
I'll take him off anybody's hands that don't want him.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I will.
I think he's probably like 3 or 4.
AB.
I mean, it's not,
I mean, I kind of go back and forth where I could easily put him at wide receiver 1 and the number 1 dynasty asset. But I'm
I think
also
he's 3.
in a position where I like to win now, and I don't like the productive struggle.
Yeah, I once actually had a debate, and someone said Antonio Brown and Odell Beckham aren't in the same stratosphere, and then I pulled a bunch of stats to show them they were. But I will go on record, and Sam, if you're listening, my co-host Sam from the Afterburners podcast, Antonio Brown is the best receiver currently in the NFL. I don't think it's
football-wise. I think so. Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think Julio's number 2.
Yeah, Julio's definitely up there as much disrespect as he gets
Right
from
now.
fantasy players.
Which makes no sense.
I remember Ryan McDowell this offseason said he got Julio at like 20 in a mock.
No, that's for
falling.
real.
20.
Yeah.
20.
That's people taking Josh Hersmeyer too seriously.
The milk's
Never
gone
Julio.
bad.
Hashtag always Julio.
His ADP right now is 14.3.
Man.
That's
He went
so
pick
little.
26 in that draft where Bell went 205.
You can
So
get
Julio Jones made it to the
Man.
you can get
What?
Antonio Brown and Julio as your first 2 picks of a startup. Can you imagine?
You can get someone in between in this draft.
The destruction. Oh my gosh.
It's unbelievable.
That is literally unbelievable.
People hate. I said this a couple weeks ago, and people got all butthurt about it. I said, dynasty players hate winning. It's just
I completely agreed with this.
they love building sexy rosters, but they hate
Yes.
to win. And then people got super defensive about it. I'm like, listen, I wasn't trying to make this bold statement here. I was being a little bit funny, but
let's be honest though.
It's true.
If somebody got upset with you about saying that on Twitter,
It's because they have a pretty roster and they're losing.
ding, 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 ding. Winner.
When you said that, Jake, honestly, just now I thought of J Mike and how he says never late. Those dynasty owners are probably like, never win, always building.
Always. Emphasis on the struggle, not so much the production.
always going to narrowly miss the playoffs.
What you know about that 6 seed? What?
Yeah, but Twitter will love your team. And that's what it's about.
Yeah, win all the trade polls,
Yeah.
all those things.
Hey man, that's my brand. You be careful with that
That's
sarcasm.
right.
Twitter
I'm
polls
really-
is pretty much what I do.
I'm really trying to get Outhouse to take all of my tagging responsibilities away from me.
Oh man, and there's some people these days. All right, we're shifting to this. There's guys that literally take up multiple posts in a thread just tagging people.
Why do you do 3 pages of tagging? I'm sorry. Either really respect my opinion and I'm one of 5 people,
Yeah,
or fucking get off my Twitter feed, please.
or just
If I'm
tag
on
me
your
because-
if I'm on your 3rd page of tags, get the fuck out of here.
So, Jake, earlier we said you translate my articles into 2 sentences. Have you ever seen the Key and Peele Obama angry translator thing? You're translating my angry thoughts. Where, I'm really nice, and I'm like, yeah, I'll answer your stuff if you tag me. But secretly, I'm thinking same thing you just said. If you tag me and I see you tagged 50 other people, I'm just unlikely to even
Listen,
respond.
I love to help. I'm flattered that people even give 2 shits about my opinion, because I think we're all pretty much in the same realm of football knowledge for the most part. But and anybody that DMs me, listen, I've gone back and forth with people with extended DMs, and I love helping people out, but it's one thing helping people out, and it's also another thing of being used and abused on my Twitter feed, where I go to work and I check my phone and I have 157 notifications. And the worst part is I might mute this person, but I haven't muted everyone else that he's tagged.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden the responses are showing up in my notifications, but not the original tweet. So I don't know what the fuck is going on.
There's a mute conversation.
No, I know,
Button.
but then I have to go mute the conversation that I'm not even aware of where it began.
Just mute everything. Just close Twitter. Man.
You all are witnessing the birth of Jake Fanderson.
I just wanted like a picture of like Jake like this.
Jake, real quick question for you on that. Would you say like, so there's a certain few that definitely are more guilty of it than usual. I'm not going to name names or anything like that. But if you interact with those people regularly, you're more likely to answer their Twitter polls, right? If you've got into actual discussions with them. But if they just continually tag you in polls and they don't actually talk to you, you're like, cool. Right?
I mean, that's the problem, I think, is that any relationship has been started by polls. There wasn't any relationship prior to the tagging.
Yeah,
you know, like,
that's my issue too.
Like, you got to take me out for dinner first, bitch.
See, that's your problem. Your standards are too high.
Buy me a drink first.
I'm not your Twitter tag, ho.
See, again, that's me, and I'm okay with that. See, that's how I start. That's how I got followers. I just started throwing my opinion whether they wanted it or not, and that just led to people starting tagging me. And then again, when they tag like 83 people, and I'm one of the 4 that actually respond, more people just start tagging me.
I'm living my best life because people have started not tagging me anymore. I think because I pretty much have stopped responding if there are a ton of tags. And I'll just respond to the ones that if I see Jake retweet like an interesting one, I'll be like, yeah, all right, you do the work for me.
See, and it's funny because anytime I see a reply from Bobby regarding a poll, I'm like, okay, I need to check this one out. What is he actually talking about? Because he's actually willing to talk about this one.
Yeah, see, it's working. It's working already. That's what you got to do, Jake. Just stop responding.
Oh, I have. Trust me.
Or just start like responding with middle finger gifs.
It's that and the Friday football follows.
Oh, yeah. Those are fun.
Give me 27 pages of football follows. No, give me like your top 5 guys. That's cool. Like that's flattering if you make one of those lists.
Wait, not my top 55?
155.
Oh, 155. Got it.
155. If I come in the top 143, that's cool.
I'm 100% guilty of that. When Ryan was doing those lists back in like February or March, he'd be like, tag 5 people. I'd be like, oh, here's 200 for you, Ryan.
I can't limit it to 5. It's like, all right. I'm not even mad. I'm not even mad. I'm all about people supporting other people.
Oh, I am too. And
follow directions.
It sounded a little bit like an old man, but it just gets a little bit crazy at times. That's it.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
How does Dynasty Porta Potty feel about this?
He loves trade polls.
Oh, you know what? I bet you Dynasty Porta Potty is the guy that asks a trade question and then doesn't even put a poll.
Maybe I'll just do a little
Or
trade
like
poll.
switches the answers.
He's just like, would you rather have this guy or this guy? And there's no poll. And I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, no, I'm not answering that.
Let me vote and get out of here.
Yes, I refuse to be forced to type.
Maybe I'll just do a little trade poll.
I'm going to be the weird one here and say I actually prefer those posts because a poll, it's like, all right, I just have to click this and then I can go away. If someone does that, I'm more likely to engage because then it's like, all right, they actually expect me to type something here.
No, they just forgot to hit the poll button. That's
well,
all that is.
I like to give them more credit than that, Russ.
But if it's Bobby, what if it's someone that does that with no poll and then all they tag is my fantasy league and FF Dynasty trades and that's it? Like they want people to retweet it, but there's no freaking poll.
I mean, listen, everybody's got to learn how to use Twitter eventually, and everybody has started.
It's the same thing with articles too. Like, don't write an article and tag 170 people about your article. Like, and somebody I can't remember who. I think it was Nathan Powell. He's like, there's 2 ways to get retweets.
Yeah.
1, have good content and they'll grow organically, or 2, take 1,700 people for everything that you do.
I mean, to be fair, I do reinforce this behavior because I will pretty much retweet anything anyone asks me to. So while I'm on your side and being like, yeah, guys, seriously, stop this. It's like, no, just keep tagging me, man, because I'll keep doing it.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Outhouse on this one where, I think about before, like as I said earlier, everyone starts out somewhere, and I get it. But at the same time, like what I try to do
for attention, that's all.
If I try to retweet with people, then I at least try to engage with them in some way. So I start to get to know them as a person. If you don't engage with me in any kind of like even slightly meaningful way and just keep doing it, that's when I'm like, all right, I'm not retweeting your stuff anymore.
Well, it's different if you have relationships with people. Absolutely.
But what I'm saying is it will be people that I don't have relationships with, and I like realize they're new in the community and I want to help them out. So then I'll like try to engage with them. And then if they don't really engage back or engage in a way that I'm like, that's kind of weird. You're not really engaging in a polite or respectful way. Or
well, that's what I think the problem is. I don't think a lot of it is just coming across as being genuine. It's more like just starving for acknowledgement or attention or follows, or you know what I'm saying? Like, I think people care too much about that.
Yeah, I think I can see it, but I also think it's a somewhat cynical take, because I can also remember being that guy who like wrote for a blog and no one would talk to me.
I know what that's like.
Tyler Gunther also says to you, Russ, he says, Outhouse looks like he could be in a Dave Matthews cover band.
Fuck Dave Matthews.
Oh gosh.
And that was back in the days where Dave Matthews was popular and I was wearing the Marilyn Manson t-shirts, scaring all the kids that were listening to Dave Matthews. So yeah, no. How dare you?
There's the glove again.
Tyler Gunther.
All right. We're gonna go ahead and close things down real quick because it was asked earlier and I forgot to ask you guys. Case Keenum or Jimmy Garoppolo?
Garoppolo.
These questions are just trying to be
on
like,
looks alone, I'm going Garoppolo
for no reason. That's honestly what everyone in the chat is trying to prove right now.
I think everybody's coming at your
Tom
neck,
Brady
Bobby.
or Case Keenum.
Everybody's coming at your neck, Bobby.
Listen, I'm sorry that every article can't be Cooper Kupp's grandma. All right.
But it can be, though, Bobby. That's what we're saying to you.
Listen, I'll just give the people what they want. Every single article now will just be some variation of Little Red Riding Hood featuring Cooper Kupp's grandma.
I would love to see how many of those you can get out.
Oh,
That's what she said.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I thought too.
Good deal. So I'm not even reading anything else in the chat. The chat is so lit tonight. Oh my gosh. People's Champ was in here earlier, shout him out. But yeah, the same crew. Oh my gosh. The chat's been lit. Anyhow, let's pack it up and pack it in. Let me begin to end this thing. First up, Travie Trav. What are you working on? Where can we find you? Plug away, sir. This is your time to shine.
First of all, only my wife can call me Travie Trav.
My bad, Mr. Travis.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. It was awesome. I had a good time with you guys. You can find me at Travis NFL. The Superflex Super Show is my podcast with James and John. You can follow that at Superflex Show, and that's pretty much all we got. Oh, we're going to be doing all three of us are going to be part of the Superflex rankings team over at DLF here in the next week or so. So that's exciting. Very nice.
Very nice. And Travis, correct me if I'm wrong, but you were an extra in Sons of Anarchy with your beard, right?
I was on 3 episodes.
My man.
Yeah.
I think they'll be like, for real?
So
I had to stop because I've watched that show. I'm like, wait, really?
which 3 episodes were those?
I knew he looked familiar.
They didn't make the cut.
Good stuff. And if we can get Hogue on next week, we'll have the trifecta. And
we'll for sure.
And Bobby can listen to all 3 episodes and give you guys grades to see who actually wins.
I clearly won't be Team John. That's just the way it always works.
I don't know. I feel like I've disappointed you the last few times, Bobby. I feel like you used to be Team Travis, and then we're drifting apart.
He's
Yeah, I
got
don't
an
know
ever-changing
whose team
point
I'm on
system.
anymore.
His point system changes more than WNBA 3-point line.
I don't know. Dynasty Wall Street seemed to figure it out pretty well. They just shout out my favorite players, and I'm like, great, you get a point. Good job. You figured out my system.
Oh, wait, I just want to go back to this like niche little esoteric thing you just threw out. Changing like the WNBA 3-point line. Was that like for one person listening to this podcast and actually understood that reference?
That's for the guilty pleasure, the folks that will not admit that they watch Maya Moore ball out for the Minnesota Lynx. Not that I've ever seen it or anything. I couldn't name one player, obviously.
It's pretty offensive.
Making that up.
You just did.
You get the joke, all right.
That's like Minnesota's one good team right now, and I've heard plenty about them, but I refuse.
Yeah, they're amazing. The Lynx are actually amazing, but I mean, I get it. I just like basketball. Anyway, the outhouse himself, the finest of porta potties, Russ, plug away, sir.
I'm at Dynasty Outhouse. Me and Brian Haar host the Trade Addicts pod. I feel like it's been way too long, and Brian's going to give me shit that I didn't talk about him this whole time. Too bad, too late. But that's really about it. I'm on Twitter way too much. Apparently, don't at these fine gentlemen at this on fine gentlemen, and chances are I won't want to work at my job, and I'll just sit on the computer on Twitter, and I'll answer your trade polls. Because my pinned tweet, I care about your fantasy football team.
Nice.
It's all a ploy, damn it.
Grandma, what great recency bias you have. Oh, man. Oh my gosh. All right, Bobby. Bobby,
Hold it together, Bobby.
Yeah, you can find me writing articles about Cooper Kupp's grandma exclusively at DLF Football. There will be 5 of those coming in the near future. I also write for 2 quarterbacks. I might have to find a way to work Cooper Kupp's grandma into that. Maybe she can play some quarterback. I don't know.
If you just change it to Alex Smith's grandma, and I'm sure it'll fly.
That's true. Speaking of 2 quarterbacks, I do have to really quickly shout out the 2 quarterbacks draft guide that came out recently. If you buy one, 10% of the profits go to NCADV, and a ton of smarter people than me worked on it, so definitely check that out. Tomorrow we're recording the Afterburners pod, and just in case Jake hasn't seen enough of me, he'll be joining as well as Peter Howard, so definitely check that out when it drops too.
That's what's up. Very good. Last but not least, my co-host for the night. He's back in the saddle after an action-packed last month or so of life. Jake, what's going on with you, man?
Same old stuff. I got the Dynasty Crossroads, and shout out to yourself. I think we gave you a little shout out the first episode for coming up with that name, and that podcast really grew from the crossover open bar Dynasty Dummies rookie or whatever the hell that was. Whatever that pod was, that's really how Peter and I just decided to do that podcast, which has been a blast. And Peter Howard is an absolute rising star in the community and one of the smartest Dynasty minds I've met. And it's really a pleasure to talk to him and learn from him and kind of pick each other's brains throughout that process. So that's been fun.
Looks like you're reading this. Is this prepared? Your eyes going back and forth.
Peter's telling him exactly what to say. Peter's typing in the chat, you better say this.
Is this Manchurian Candidate? What's going on here?
Wait, I screwed up 2 words. Can I do that over? All right. But all seriousness, you can find us there at Dino Crossroads. We discuss one player at a time from a film and analytical perspective. I'm a writer for DLF as well. And since I'm not a great writer, I was lucky enough to do the cover art for the 2 QBs draft guide. So that's always been fun. Be like, oh, yeah, you want to help us out with something? Yeah, you need me to write? No, just do this artwork for us. But honestly, that was awesome. That's how came in and allowed me to do that. That was a bunch of fun.
Kudos to Jake. That cover is awesome if you haven't seen it.
Appreciate that. I mean, I'm very amateur with my graphics, so to be able to do something for me, that was a big deal, which was a lot of fun. And like Bobby said, I'm going to be going on the Afterburner show before our episode 8 of Dino Crossroads tomorrow, which should be a blast. And then Friday, I'm so pumped to go to the city, go to the FF Baller show with Bobby and Sal and Russ and who else is going?
Michael FF Realist on Twitter. I don't know his last name.
Hoff or something. And then, Derek from FFRX is going to be there. So we have a crew. It has been assembled. We should have a good time. We should have some stories.
I have my outfit picked out already.
That's pretty fun. And then I don't know if it's official or not, but I think I'm supposed to go on Travis's pod coming up here pretty soon with Addison.
That's right.
For the 1 year anniversary, because Addison and I were the part-time, very, very short part-time co-hosts of the Super Flexible podcast back in the day. So that should be fun. I haven't gave Addison shit in real life for a while, and I am thrilled about that opportunity. So check that out. And yeah, you can find me on Twitter at NFL Draft Talker.
My podcast invites must be lost in the Twitterverse, by the way, gentlemen. There's a lot of inner podcast love going on.
I don't think I got an invite.
What? You're
not to these guys. You were just talking about you're on the Afterburners tomorrow.
Yeah.
He was
I never got an invite from you, Russ. So
Yeah,
I don't know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
Russ.
Look, I told you until this moment, you guys were like superheroes to me. Like I was too afraid to even talk to you guys.
And now you don't even want us on your pod anymore.
Exactly. I was, I screwed up by bringing this up. Now I feel awkward.
We actually had your co-host on too, Russ.
Son of a bitch.
There's this whole world going on.
I'm stealing this and putting a Trade Addicts podcast.
We don't have guests on the Dynasty Crossroads, so I have a built-in excuse right there.
I also had your co-host on the Afterburners pod.
Yes,
so
I know you did. I know.
This feels like a Dave Chappelle episode where they talk about the mad real world. The guy brings his girlfriend. He's like, I had sex with Katie too. And Lysol had sex with Katie. What is going on?
No, but it's fine, guys. It's fine.
Oh,
it's
man. Well, good stuff. As always, such a good time with you guys. Golly, this was good. Therapeutic even. I appreciate it. So safe travels to my homie, my better half, Gabe Gearing, at FF Man Bun on Twitter. You can find his world travels on Twitter as he goes throughout. I believe he's still got, I think Zurich. I don't know how to say it. Still left to go on one of those two on his tour of Europe. But anyway, find him on Twitter. You can find the show's handle at the Open Bar FP. And again, the live show is on YouTube, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. So you can check that out video form. Obviously, the chat was great. Thank you guys for joining us in the chat. It was lit like Christmas. It was great. You can find the podcast on Stitcher, on Podbean, on Apple Podcast app, on Google Play. Any and everywhere that you can get a podcast, you can find it. Even at Grandma's house. Ain't that right, Bobby?
100%. Always at Grandma's house.
You can find me on Twitter at JMikeCheck, at JMICCheck. Again, thank you guys for joining us. And as usual, glasses up, cups up, empty hands, whatever you got. Cheers to you, gentlemen. Thank you for joining me here at the bar. Until next time, dudes and dudettes. Deuces.